Welcome back to my channel. It's Rene Marcus. Thank you so very much for tuning in, and if you're new to my channel, please do me that favor and press that subscribe button. Don't forget to like, share, and of course subscribe to see more of me, and do not forget to press that notification bell. What's the point of subscribing if you're not pressing that notification bell to see my next uploaded video? We all know how beautiful Gambia is. We all know Gambia is such a beautiful and peaceful country. We welcome everyone. That's why we're the smiling coast of West Africa. So today I decided to talk about citizenship. 3 different types of citizenships in the Gambia, which is citizenship through birth, citizenship through naturalization, and citizenship through marriage. I think it's very important for me to basically highlight these type of citizenships because most of the African diaspora that want to actually relocate to the Gambia, it's really important that they are aware of the type of citizenship that they might be eligible for. So the first one that I'm going to basically discuss will be citizenship from birth. If you're actually not aware that the Constitution on citizenship or the Constitution itself has actually been renewed, well, it has been, even though it's a draft, it has not been put into force yet. So they're still changing things because it does take a while to get everything set and ready. So what I'm going to do first is actually explain the new Constitution on citizenship from birth. But before I do, I'm just going to touch on the difference between the old Constitution on citizenship, and then I will then tell you what has actually changed. So in 1997, the old Constitution on citizenship from birth was actually if a person was born in the Gambia or outside the Gambia, that person would be actually eligible for citizenship if 2 of their parents were actually citizens at the time when that person was born. This basically means that the old Constitution in 1997, when a person was actually born in the Gambia or outside the Gambia, but not both of your parents were actually Gambians at the time of your birth, which basically means that you will not basically be a Gambian citizen. Even if, let's say, your parents were actually living in the Gambia but they were not Gambians, you will not be eligible for a citizenship. Or maybe one of your parents were actually Gambians, you would still not be eligible for citizenship because both of your parents at the time had to be citizen. However, the 2020 Constitution draft actually has changed this law. So now, if a person was actually born in or outside the Gambia, only one of your parents had to actually be a citizen of the country, of the Gambia, or your grandparents is or was a citizen of the Gambia. So let me just say this again. So if you were actually born in the Gambia or outside the Gambia, but one or more of your parents or your grandparents is or was a citizen in the Gambia, you would be eligible for a citizenship. So this is actually how it will now work once the new Constitution has actually been put in place. And also for African descendants, if you are actually an African descendant, this basically means that if one of your ancestors or more than one of your ancestors were actually Gambian citizens, you will actually be regarded as a Gambian citizen. So let me just repeat this again. If you're actually an African descendant, this basically means that if one of your ancestors were actually from the Gambia or had a Gambian nationality, which basically means that if you can prove this, you will then automatically have a citizenship in the Gambia. This is the only time an African descent would have a citizenship. And this basically means that you can do a DNA or whatever proof that you can actually show to say, hey, look, one of my ancestors was actually a Gambian. then you can have it. But if you're actually an African descendant, but for example, your ancestors were actually from Senegal, and the other one was actually from, let's say, Sierra Leone or Guinea-Conakry, do not expect to have automatic citizenship because you do not actually have a Gambian background. So I hope you actually understand this. And the other thing is that every child age 8 or under the age 8 years old would actually be eligible to have automatic citizenship if their parents are actually unknown. So I'm just going to repeat this again. So an 8-year-old child or under the age of 8, if your parents are actually unknown, you are actually eligible to actually have Gambian citizenship once the constitution has actually been put into force. So I hope this all makes sense to you. So this takes me to the marriage citizenship. How does this work? So before I tell you the 2020 constitution draft on how marriage citizenship actually works, let's go back in 1997, the constitution, how this law was actually put in place, and what would you actually need in order to be eligible. First of all, you must be registered. So your marriage must be a registered marriage in order to be eligible to have citizenship. And you must be married to a Gambian citizen who actually lives in the Gambia, and you yourself must be a resident in the Gambia for no less than 7 years. Even if, let's say, within the 7 years you had a divorce or your partner passed away, whether you decided to get married or not, again, you will still be eligible for the citizenship after the 7 years. However, with the new constitution, which is the 2020 constitution draft, it actually shows that if you're actually getting your citizenship through marriage, you must be registered. It's still the same as the constitution in 1997. It's actually the same rules that applies to the 2020 constitution draft, but the only difference on this is instead of being married for 7 years, not less than 7 years, now it's actually for 5 years. You have to be married for 5 good years with a Gambian national. And for example, if you were to basically have a divorce and it's not yet the 5 years, or your partner had passed away, you will still have the right to actually have your citizenship after the 5 years. Please, please, please make sure that your wedding is actually registered, because it has to be on the system. So to become a citizen in the Gambia through naturalization. So I know a lot of people actually say, oh, you actually have to be in the country for 10 years and before you can actually get the citizenship. But actually, I have managed to put my hands on the constitution draft for the 2020 and also in the constitution in 1997. And both of them actually shows that you must be in the country for 15 good years. So you have to be a resident in the Gambia for a good 15 years in order for you to actually be eligible to apply for a citizenship in the Gambia. However, you must actually meet the criteria in order for you to apply for citizenship after this 15 years. So this actually does not apply to the African descendants. So African descendants that actually have ancestors that were Gambians, you are actually regarded as Gambian citizens. So this is different to the African descendants that do not have anything to do with Gambia. So you must actually live in the country. You have to be a resident in the Gambia for 15 good years. So one of the criteria in order to actually gain your citizenship through naturalization after your 15 years of residency in the Gambia. One of them is you must respect the Gambian law. For example, do not cause any crime while you are actually in the country for that period of time, because a character reference will be actually requested, which is a criminal record. You must also respect the Gambians, respect the culture, understand the culture, and at least speak one local language. You must be of age to actually apply, so you must be 18 or over. You must be of full capacity as well to know what you're actually doing, and you must be independent. So you must be capable to actually do everything for yourself. You've got a job, you're financially stable, in order to naturalize to become a Gambian citizen in the Gambia. So I hope this information will actually help you in your transitioning to the Gambia. And if you actually need any further advice or any further clarification on what I've actually said today, please do not hesitate to send me an email. My email will be in the description box, or you can comment down below on the comment box. But it would be easier for me if you actually send me an email, because even though I may take a little bit time to reply, sometimes I reply like straight away. It depends how available I am, whether I'm available or not. So I do try to reply to as many messages as possible. And also I'm aware that a petition has actually been put in place for African descendants to actually have their automatic citizenship after 5 years of basically being a resident in the Gambia. So all of this is actually in place as well. So because right now it's actually showing that you have to be in the country for 15 years, which I believe 15 years is actually a long time. So for it to be 5 years, that is actually fair enough. But we'll see anyways what happened to the final constitution. So thank you so very much for tuning in. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and thank you for sponsoring my project in the Gambia. My PayPal account will also be in the description box. I really appreciate all your love and support, and I hope you did enjoy this video, and thank you for praying for me to get well. As you can see, I'm much better today than I was on my previous video. Thank you, and see you on my next video. Goodbye.